podcasting online intensive. It's going for 5 days. Today was day 1. And my goodness, we hit the ground running. Lots of people with great feedback. In fact, many of them have to go and watch the replay because they could not take down the notes quick enough, which is typically the kind of style I love to train. Lots of great content. So, a couple of things that I wanted to share. Session 1, common mistakes, myths, truths, and misconceptions. I'm going to share how you can go and access the replay. Everything is there. And I'm letting you know now so that you can keep in step with us. Let me just share the URL so you can go and sign up for that if you haven't already. If you're already watching the replay, that is fine. Podcastingwithpurpose.com/intensive. Podcastingwithpurpose.com/intensive. One of the reasons why I started with the mistakes, the mistruths, and the misconceptions is that for service-based business owners who are looking to build their thought leadership and authority in their field, whilst also position their podcasts for not only building influence and impact, so really making a bigger difference in the world with their message, but also to set up the key foundations upon which they will start to monetize their podcast, then everything that we're covering, especially for service-based businesses, where they are positioning themselves as an expert and then ultimately selling their service as a coach, a consultant, then all of the foundations that we're going to talk about in the next 4 days is so very important. And I started off with the mistakes, mistruths, and misconceptions because so often we'll implement a strategy, but when we don't realize that it's not the best strategy, especially for service-based businesses, then yeah, we want to make sure that we know exactly what we need to do. So just a couple of ahas, and again, podcastingwithpurpose.com/intensive. One of the things I do want to share with you, and I'm not going to repeat the whole session here. Go and sign up and get access to the replay. It's there for you. There is a take action guide that is there for you. And there's also some questions and answers that I've answered that dive even deeper into the replay. So you'll get access to all of that. But one of the reasons why it's so very important, number one, as we know, there are so many more people that are adding their voice to the podcasting space, which is exciting. It's exciting, and then it's not so exciting if you don't have all of these foundations in place, because your content is going to get lost amongst the noise and clutter. But it is exciting because of the fact that there's such a great number of audience that are now recognizing how valuable podcasts are. And, you know, if I think back to some of the clients that I've worked with, right from service-based business owners to product-based to selling software, right through to someone who was a reseller of, believe it or not, salt lamps. And they said to me, do you think a podcast, they only ended up doing it 1 episode, and that's okay because they're using it as part of their customer buyer's journey, relationship building know, like, and trust. So they created 1 episode, but they asked me initially, you know, do you think that there would be an interest for us to do a show on salt lamps? So I had a search on iTunes, or Apple Podcasts as we now know it, and there is actually a show on Himalayan salt lamps. And even one of my other clients who is launching a podcast soon around music, she is an avid listener to a podcast as for one of her hobbies, knitting. There is a knitting podcast. I reckon there's a podcast for almost any and every topic. And if there's not, and it's one that you want to start, guess what? You can own that space. But it really does center on strategy. And so we dove really deep around strategy, and a lot of our ahas was around that and around lucrative niche. And in fact, there was a couple of people who we did some brainstorming. And when people often think that there is a niche or they have a niche, and then we dive a little bit deeper, we realize their niche is not actually a niche. So one of the examples was for a travel company, and the other example was for someone who wants to start a podcast in relationships. So go and have a look at the comments and the suggestions. So there's a lot of valuable insight into how we came up with that process that you can follow in your own examples. But anyway, let me just give you these studies or findings that Edelson and LinkedIn in their 2019 B2B Thought Leadership Impact Study, which they've recently done, 2019, obviously this year, was the what's the word I'm looking for? The reason why we want to take some time to really think about our message and how we're positioning ourselves as that thought leader, someone who wants to really have a solid voice in the area of their industry and their field so that they become known as an authority. And this study validates some of those, some of the reasons why we want to be doing this. 87% of decision makers who are buying services said that building thought leadership from a potential company that they were going to do business with built trust. Now, as we know, we want to build trust with our ideal clients. We want to build trust within our community, because without trust, it's going to be very difficult to get someone to go from not really knowing you and having a need to then down the track going, you know what, I want to hire that person. I want to invest in those services that that person is offering, or the programs. So 80%, 7% of decision makers said building thought leadership builds trust. 89% of decision makers from the study that Edelman and LinkedIn did said that building thought leadership enhances their reputation. So enhancing your reputation and building trust is something that you want to do with your Thought Leader podcast. Then, it's really important that you get clear on some key aspects that's going to help you position yourself as that thought leader. 58% of decision makers said that they would choose a business because of their thought leadership, and 61% of decision makers said that they're willing to pay premium prices to work with a brand that articulates a clear vision through their thought leadership. So if you want to build trust with your community, if you want to enhance your reputation as an authority or a go-to person in your industry, someone who's recommended, someone who is hired, someone who is often chosen amongst all of the competitors, amongst everyone else who's offering services or expertise in that area. And if you want to get paid premium prices, there are 4 reasons why from the study that Edelman and LinkedIn did in 2019, B2B Thought Leadership Impact Study. If you want to either or all of those 4 things, you have to build that thought leadership. But here's the thing, it's easy to say and often very difficult to do. If we have a look at what's being shared online at the moment, another study that Edelman did, and as we know, Edelman is that organization that really has a level of authority in the area of trust. Annually, for a number of years now, they've done the Edelman Trust Barometer. And the last study that they did showed that there is a remarkable gap in between the level of trust between an informed community versus what they just call the uninformed mass. So in other words, if someone is informed about the work that you're doing, if you are regularly and consistently and strategically showcasing your thought leadership brand, your message, you're speaking into areas that you know is going to provide incredible value for your ideal clients and be found when they're looking for content, such as what you'll be putting out in your podcast, and be found, then you're building a level of trust versus, the mass community who really don't know much about you. And I think, as business owners now, it's so very important not only to have our message out there consistently, but be on brand and consistently, because of such noise that is out there, constantly, and also fake news. And I think the study showed that, well, I know the study showed that government and media are two categories that are now showing as being mistrusting. So in other words, because of all of the fake news that are going on, because of stuff that's going on with government, and this is worldwide, people are less trusting of them. And so that means that, as organizations, as brands, as businesses, so whether you're a solopreneur or whether you are a business and have many, team, or you're a multinational business and international, it's important that we consistently share a brand, that positions us as that authority in their field. Because if we're not constantly getting our message out there, our message is going to get drowned out, or we may never be found. So again, the link to jump on the intensive to watch the replay for session 1, which is around mistakes, the mistruths, and the misassumptions that stops people from standing out, being heard, being seen as that influential voice in their industry. You can go and do that at podcastingwithpurpose.com/intensive. It is online. Once you sign up there, you'll be given access to the Take Action Guide. It's quite a number of pages long because we've only just started. We have scratched the surface, and already people are commenting, I'm going to have to go watch the replay. There's so much information in there. This is fantastic. There's questions and answers being answered on that as well. But we're just scratching the surface. So I hope to see you there. And because the next session, we're going to be talking about the 3 podcast profit models that'll catapult you from visible to influential and profitable. So I hope to see you there. Just wanted to pop in and let you know if you have missed out, you haven't seen the link or one of the the pieces of content that I've shared that this is coming up, you still got lots of opportunity to catch up on that replay. And I hope to see you live tomorrow for session 2. Bye for now.